Hello everyone, my name is Avinash Tavares, and in this video I will be talking about public participation. Recently there was a Gram Sabha held in Chicalim where they prepared their own coastal zone management plan, that is CZMP. As most people in Goa will be knowing that the government had made draft plans without public consultation. They only had departmental consultation, and they tried to the government organized district level hearings to get suggestion objections. Eventually they scrapped that. Then they decided to have taluka level presentations, and which did not go as planned. And finally they said right now it's in a limbo, it's not clear what is going to happen. But the Chikalim Panchayat body, hats off to them, they decided to take it up on themselves. They organized a Gram Sabha, special Gram Sabha, in order to discuss, get feedback, get opinions, explain the procedure of how to prepare the coastal zone management plan. So this exercise was obviously a success, but it did have some critics from the civil society. And what generally is the issue is that they say that doesn't follow in the procedure of wherein the procedure states that once a draft is prepared, it can be kept open for suggestion objection for 30 days. So where does this exercise of village participation actually fit in? The other objection is whether the villagers are experts, and so to clarify, I mean, I won't go into the details of it, but just to clarify that the public participation always has to be before the draft, which was not done. So this exercise should be considered as exercise done in the pre-draft phase. So using this, the government should prepare the draft CZMP and then keep it open for suggestion objections. Second thing is local knowledge is very important. The scientists sitting in Chennai, they don't know which areas of Chikaling get flooded, how many people are vulnerable, what sort of what are the ground realities across the seasons. So this is something. What is the biodiversity? So all this information can only be collected by locals, and they have the most knowledge. The framework for putting all this together is something that should have been given by the government. However, they have referred to a lot of other CZMP across India, and they have prepared the framework based on that. That is, of course, can always be changed. But here I'm going to talk about public participation. This is a famous quote from a French protest which had taken place decades ago. What it means is that I participate, you participate, we participate, y'all participate, but finally they profit. Who are they? They are the vested interest. In Goa, we have real estate lobbies who have purchased land along the coast and are trying to protect their interest by pushing the high tide line towards the sea. So these are the interests that people have to fight against, besides fighting the climate change and other hazards that are impending. But let's try and understand public participation. I'll try and explain this as briefly as possible using this little diagram here. So there are 8 types of public participation. Well, the first 2 types are non-participation, the next 3 are tokenism, and the top 3 are citizens' power. So in brief, the first type is manipulation. Manipulation is when the authority tries to brainwash people. They try to manipulate the entire system by selecting a few people, putting them on the committee. These are elite, these are not locals, but they are their own people who have been put on committees and who tend to speak behalf on the general public. We have seen this kind of manipulation done when the investment policy was drafted in 2014. There were some so-called industrialists who were put there. They had no clue of the local economy, but they were made to decide. They had no clue of what the villagers and what other stakeholders wanted, but they made a policy which is gone flop. So this kind of public participation, this kind of participation is flawed. In fact, even in the investment policy, they had taken suggestions that didn't work out. Same thing with the solar policy. That also is just a sham of participation. When they took suggestions, they have not incorporated any suggestion in the solar policy. So those the performance and the result of those policies, how much impact it has today, is a clear indicator of why is a clear indicator of how much participation had occurred that time. And since there was no real participation of the public, those policies have gone flop. The next kind of participation is therapy, where the authority or the say the corporate who's interested tries to come and brainwash people they to accept the project. This was classic in the case of MOPA, where the public hearing, the environmental hearing, ended up being a platform for people to demand jobs and everything, even though in reality the number of jobs was grossly overestimated. And today, a lot of the jobs are going to non-Goans, they're going to outside contractors, including the security agency, the subcontractors. So, this form of participation again is a sham. It's just to show in any court that look, we have done some sort of public participation, but it doesn't work. The MPT, they tried to do the MPT public hearings for environment. They tried to do the therapy session, but a lot of activists came prepared, and which is why things did not go their way. Now, the next form is tokenism, the next category. In that, we have informing. Now, informing is a process wherein the authority gives a presentation. They give data. They give handouts, they give PowerPoint presentations to the locals or to the public. Now, where this is done, what sort of how much of the public is invited is determines the success or failure of this. This example, classic example, is the public participation for CZMP, the Taluka level, where the authority, in this case the Director of Environment and the OSD, thought that by just giving presentations to people they will be satisfied, and tomorrow they can claim that there was a public participation exercise done. But then it is just a presentation, as the minister had said, and therefore it is informing. In fact, we couldn't even ask questions during those Taluka level hearings. Only in Pedne they allowed in Margaon, but sorry, in Panjim, but in Vasco and in Margaon that was not possible. So consultation, the next form. So consultation is a two-way process as compared to informing, but again consultation is done. It is not a streamlined process. They just invite suggestions from the public before preparing the draft for suggestions. There is no necessity or on the authority to implement any of those consultation. This is seen generally when the government decided to in the SGPD, South Goa Planning Development Authority, decided to consult a local body, that is the Margaon municipality, to give suggestions. They did not explain to the councillors the actual procedure on what exactly feedback that is required to be given. And this consultation process was just done for namesake, because tomorrow in the High Court they can say that they had consulted the local body, but half their inputs or suggestions were not considered, and it was a sham. So who to consult, which board, whether it is the local body or whether it are the local stakeholders who could be like say the businesses and all, or whether it is the local residents, or in Goa in India we call it a Gram Sabha. So who is consulted is a big question mark that has to be clarified. Nonetheless, it is not it is just a token thing, because finally the authority can do whatever they want, and there is no bearing on them to actually consider all the feedback. Next we have placation. Placation is another form of tokenism. The classic case in Goa was during the Regional Plan 2021 in 2008. After the earlier regional plan was opposed, the members of Goa Bachao Abhiyan, the primary citizens group lobbyists that had worked towards that, were put on the task force to scrutinize the draft regional plan and all the suggestions that came there. So this was a classic case of tokenism, wherein the task committee was given the job. I think Edgar Ribert was also on that, And the official stance of the government is that, look, we formed a committee of citizen groups and they had scrutinized it. After the task force had prepared the report, several lakhs of square meters of changes were done. But on the record, this was changes were done probably without the knowledge of the task force members. But on the record, it is gone as that, look, we have done a public participation. This is the excuse that is given to us, our NGO, in the court, that while preparing the regional plan 2021, the public was consulted and even a task force was prepared. So this is again a form of tokenism, because as we've seen, the regional plan was lakhs of square meters was changed for certain vested real estate real estate speculators and landowners, and it is detrimental to the environment and to the socio-economic status of our Goa. Then next we have a partnership. So here is when we start getting into the realm of actual public participation. In the case of partnership, both the local stakeholders, the villagers or the locals, get into partnership with the authority to prepare the plan. This is what we wanted in the case of the CZMP, that both whether it's a Goa Coastal Zone Management Authority, NCSCM, that is the agency hired to do it, and the local body should have should have sat together and prepared the plan for each village. So this would have today we would have had a full-fledged plan if at all this had to take place. Of course, it takes time. This is no shortcuts to it, because the process, discussion, the debates, there are maybe arguments, but everything eventually gets settled and it's a win-win situation for everyone. So this is about partnership. Then we have delegated powers. Now, delegated powers, the classic case today is the VDC, the Village Development Committees. Under the 14th Financial Commission, we have money coming in from the central government, around 50 lakhs for every village, wherein they have to prepare how they are going to spend it. They have to prepare a village development plan, show all the projects, all the proposals. That goes to the government. Government does not question. They just do the estimates and accordingly disperse the money, tender the projects and implement it. So this is a classic case of delegated power. This is a very positive sign. Can it be done for everything? That's a big question mark. For small projects, yes, it can be done. For bridges, footpaths, the small works. But as the works get more complex, you need more consultation, expert consultation. So, but nonetheless, since the local bodies are delegated powers, they get a confidence to take up decisions. The decision can be taken quickly and also with local knowledge, so that in the long term it is beneficial for everybody. And the last is obviously citizen control, as we call it in India, Swaraj. So the local bodies is given complete control of whatever development takes place, whatever plans need to be implemented, drafted and implemented, whether it's whatever policies, whether from solar policy to traffic policies to pollution reduction measures, the citizen groups or the local Gram Sabhas need to get control. They need to be provided with the experts, the alternatives, the finance, but decision making is kept with the locals. And if you have a competition base like what the central government has done, wherein they score every village based on the performance for these VDCs, so if that kind of thing is there, more citizens will want to participate in Gram Sabhas, and hopefully they will think better they will think what can be done to make their village better, and people will not be forced to leave the villages because they themselves are primary decision makers. Now, whether the government or elected members will want to give control to the local citizens is a big question mark. Nonetheless, it is beneficial to them also in the long term, and I hope this eventually happens. This is a dream of Mahatma Gandhi, Swaraj, and where citizens get the control of the development and the policies that need to be implemented in the village. So this is a summary of it. We have manipulation, therapy, informing. They are non-participants. We have tokenism, which include informing, consultation, placation. Then we have citizens' powers, which is partnership, delegated powers, and citizen control. So I hope you understand this, and next time when we have a public participation exercise, we will be able to better understand what strategy is being used, whether it's being used for whose benefit, and whether the process will be successful. So please next time demand that the public participation be partnership, delegated powers, or citizens' control? Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, hit like, subscribe, share this video with as many Goans and Indians as possible, so that in future we don't have to fight against the government, but we can work with the government to do what is best for our country, for our state, and for our village. Thank you very much.